U.S. Regional and State Art and Culture Agencies. Chapter 1. U.S. Regional Arts Organizations. 6 U.S. regional arts organizations funded by the NIA. ArtsMidwest.org, Arts Midwest. MAA.org, Mid-America Arts Alliance. MidAtlanticArts.org, Mid-Atlantic Arts Foundation. NEFA.org, New England Foundation for the Arts. SouthArts.org, Southern Arts Federation. WestAF.org, Western States Arts Federation. Other United States regional art websites. notaccess.com/directories/nindex.htm. NHAlliance.org. The National Humanities Alliance, NA. More than 80 associations. NEH.gov/news/archive/1999051.html, NEH Regional Humanities Centers. eScholarship.org/UC/PRHC, Pacific Regional Humanities Center. swrhc.txstate.edu, Southwest Regional. crmw.org, Rocky Mountain. unl.edu/plains/pha/pha.shtml, Plains Humanities Alliance. csumc.wisc.edu, Center for the Study of Upper Midwestern Cultures. museums.org/museums/info/1161926, Deep South Regional Humanities Center. march.rutgers.edu, Mid-Atlantic Regional Center for the Humanities, March. southatlanticcenter.org, South Atlantic Humanities Center, SAHC. ohiou.edu/CRHC, Central Region Humanities Center. cola.unh.edu/center-humanities/center-new-england-culture. New England Center for the Humanities. statehumanities.com, Federation of State Humanities Councils. Western States Art Federation. 1543, Compa St. Number 220. Denver, Colorado 80202. 303-629-1166. Staff at westaf.org. westaf.org. Chapter 2. United States Art Agencies by State. Find U.S. state art organizations at 2 big art organizations. Americans for the Arts. 1275 K St. N.W., Suite 1200. Washington, D.C. 20005. 202-371-2830. AmericansForTheArts.org. Nonprofit organization for advancing the arts and arts education. AmericansForTheArts.org/by-location/states. National Assembly of State Arts Agencies. 1200 18th Street Northwest, Suite 1100. Washington, D.C. 20036. NASAA at nasaa-arts.org. 202-347-6352. nasaa-arts.org. Facebook.com/nasaa.arts. x.com/nasaa_arts. LinkedIn.com/company/national-assembly-of-state-arts-agencies. youtube.com/channel/UC-GSDL4UWJJML-PUHJFCA. nasaa-arts/state-agencies/saa-directory. There is free money for art through state art agencies. While each state has their own individual guidelines, there is usually a residency requirement necessary. U.S. State Arts Agencies Councils Organizations. Alabama. alabamafilm.org/index2.htm, Alabama Film Office. Preservala.org, Alabama Historical Commission. apls.state.al.us, Alabama Public Library Service. arts.state.al.us, Alabama State Council on the Arts. archives.state.al.us, Department of Archives and History. Alaska. educ.state.ak.us/axca, Alaska State Council on the Arts. eed.state.ak.us/lam, Department of Education and Early Development, Division of Libraries, Archives, and Museums. sled.alaska.edu, Department of Education and Early Development, SLED, Statewide Library Electronic Doorway. library.state.ak.us, State Library. Arizona. ArizonaArts.org, Arizona Commission on the Arts. dlapr.lib.az.us, Department of Library, Archives, and Public Records. Arkansas. ArkansasArts.com, Arkansas Arts Council. ArkansasHeritage.com, Department of Arkansas Heritage. asl.lib.ar.us, State Library. California. caam.ca.gov, California African American Museum. cac.ca.gov, California Arts Council. library.ca.gov, State Library. Colorado. aclin.org, Access Colorado Library and Information Network. coloradoarts.state.co.us, Colorado Council on the Arts. coloradofilm.org/home.html, Colorado Film Commission. coloradohistory.org, Colorado Historical Society. colorado.gov/dpa/doit/archives, Colorado State Archives. cde.state.co.us/index_library.htm, Colorado State Library. Connecticut. ctarts.org, Connecticut Commission on the Arts. ctfreedomtrail.com, Historical Commission, Connecticut Freedom Trail. cslib.org, State Library. Delaware. state.de.us/sos/dpa, Delaware Public Archives. artsdel.org, Delaware State Council of Arts. deestatemuseums.org, Delaware State Museums. state.lib.de.us/index.shtml, Delaware's Public Library. sos.delaware.gov/default.shtml, Department of State. Florida. dlist.dos.state.fl.us/index.cfm, Division of Library and Information Services. Hawaii. state.hi.us/sfca, Hawaii State Foundation on Culture and the Arts. hcc.hawaii.edu/hsbls, State Public Library System. Idaho. state.id.us/arts, Idaho Commission on the Arts. idahohistory.net, Idaho State Historical Society. lilly.org/isl, State Library. Illinois. finditillinois.org, Find It. Illinois. state.il.us/hpa, Historic Preservation Agency. state.il.us/agency/IAC, Illinois Arts Council. cyberdrive-illinois.com/departments/archives/archives.html, State Archives. sos.state.il.us/library/isl/isl.html, State Library. museum.state.il.us, State Museum. Indiana. in.gov/arts, Indiana Arts Commission. statelib.lib.in.us, State Library. Iowa. culturalaffairs.org, Department of Cultural Affairs. iowaartscouncil.org, Iowa Arts Council. silo.lib.ia.us, State Library. Kansas. kshs.org, Kansas State Historical Society. skyways.lib.ks.us/kansas/ksl, Kansas State Library, Blue Skyways of Kansas. Kentucky. KentuckyArtisanCenter.ky.gov, Artisan Center. kdlaw.ky.gov, Department for Libraries and Archives. educationcabinet.ky.gov, Education Cabinet. kyarts.org, Kentucky Arts Council. kentuckycenter.org, Kentucky Center for the Arts. kyhistory.org, Kentucky Historical Society. kyvl.org, Kentucky Virtual Library. Louisiana. crt.state.la.us, Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. lawfilm.org, Film and Video Commission. state.lib.la.us, State Library. Maine. mainarts.com, Maine Arts Commission. state.me.us/mhpc, Maine Historic Preservation Commission. state.me.us/sos/arc, Maine State Archives. state.me.us/museum, Maine State Museum. state.me.us/msl, State Library. Maryland. mpt.org, Maryland Public Television. msac.org, Maryland State Arts Council. mdarchives.state.md.us, State Archives. Massachusetts. mass.gov/lib, State Library. Michigan. michigan.gov/hal, Department of History, Arts, and Libraries. michigan.gov/hal, Library of Michigan. michigan.gov/hal/0,160,7-160-17272-00.html, Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs. Minnesota. mnfilm.org, Minnesota Film Board. mnhs.org, Minnesota Historical Society. arts.state.mn.us, Minnesota State Arts Board. Mississippi. mdah.state.ms.us, Department of Archives and History. arts.state.ms.us, Mississippi Arts Commission. mlc.lib.ms.us, Mississippi Library Commission. Missouri. MissouriArtsCouncil.org, Missouri Arts Council. sos.mo.gov/library, State Library. Montana. art.state.mt.us, Montana Arts Council. his.state.mt.us, Montana Historical Society. his.state.mt.us/shopo/default.asp, Montana State Historic Preservation Office. msl.state.mt.us, State Library. Nebraska. NebraskaArtsCouncil.org, Nebraska Arts Council. nlc.state.ne.us, Nebraska Library Commission. NebraskaHistory.org, Nebraska State Historical Society. Nevada. dmla.clan.lib.nv.us, Department of Cultural Affairs. dmla.clan.lib.nv.us/docs/arts, Nevada State Council on the Arts. dmla.clan.lib.nv.us/docs/nsla, State Library and Archives. New Hampshire. starhop.com, Krista McAuliffe Planetarium. webster.state.nh.us/nhculture, Department of Cultural Affairs. state.nh.us/nharts, nh State Council on the Arts. state.nh.us/nhsl, State Library. New Jersey. NewJerseyStateLib.org, New Jersey State Library. New Mexico. nmoca.org, Office of Cultural Affairs. stlib.state.nm.us, State Library. New York. nica.org, New York State Council on the Arts. archives.nice.gov, State Education Department, State Archives. nizl.nice.gov, State Education Department, State Library. North Carolina. ncdcr.gov, Department of Cultural Resources. ncarts.org, North Carolina Arts Council. statelibrary.dcr.state.nc.us/ncsl-home.htm, State Library. North Dakota. state.nd.us/arts, North Dakota Council on the Arts. state.nd.us/hist, State Historical Society of North Dakota. ndsl.lib.state.nd.us, State Library. Ohio. oac.state.oh.us, Ohio Arts Council. winslow.state.oh.us, State Library. Oklahoma. oklahomacentennial.com, Centennial Commission. odl.state.ok.us, Department of Libraries. oklahomaosf.state.ok.us/arts, Oklahoma Arts Council. Oregon. oregonartscommission.org, Oregon Arts Commission. osl.state.or.us/home, State Library. Pennsylvania. phmc.state.pa.us, Historical and Museum Commission. pacouncilontharts.org, Pennsylvania Council on the Arts. statelibrary.state.pa.us/libraries/site/default.asp, State Library. Rhode Island. olis.state.ri.us, Office of Library and Information Services. sec.state.ri.us/divs/library, Rhode Island State Library. state.ri.us/archives, State Archives. arts.ri.gov, State Council on the Arts. South Carolina. state.sc.us/scda, Department of Archives and History. state.sc.us/arts, South Carolina Arts Commission. state.sc.us/scsl, State Library. museum.state.sc.us, State Museum. South Dakota. state.sd.us/DECA, Department of Education and Cultural Affairs. sdarts.org, South Dakota Arts Council. sdstatelibrary.com, State Library. Tennessee. arts.state.tn.us, Tennessee Arts Commission. state.tn.us/film, Tennessee Film, Entertainment and Music Commission. Texas. tsl.state.tx.us, State Library and Archives. teaspoonb.state.tx.us, State Preservation Board. arts.state.tx.us, Texas Commission on the Arts. glo.state.tx.us, Texas General Land Office. thc.state.tx.us, Texas Historical Commission. governor.state.tx.us/division/music, Texas Music Office. U.S. Virgin Islands. library.gov.vi, Virgin Islands Public Library System. Utah. archives.utah.gov, State Archives. library.utah.gov, State Library Division. arts.utah.gov, Utah Arts Council. film.utah.gov, Utah Film Commission. Vermont. dol.state.vt.us, Department of Libraries. vermontartscouncil.org, Vermont Arts Council. vermonthistory.org, Vermont Historical Society. vermont-archives.org, Vermont State Archives. Virginia. dhr.state.va.us, Department of Historic Resources. lva.lib.va.us, Library of Virginia. smv.org, Science Museum of Virginia. arts.state.va.us, Virginia Commission for the Arts. vmfa.state.va.us, Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. vmnh.net, Virginia Museum of Natural History. Washington. sec.state.wa.gov/library, State Library. arts.wa.gov, Washington State Arts Commission. West Virginia. wvoc.org, Department of Education and the Arts. wvculture.org, Division of Culture and History. wvculture.org/arts/index.html, West Virginia Commission on the Arts. librarycommission.lib.wv.us, West Virginia Library Commission. Wisconsin. wisconsinhistory.org, State Historical Society. arts.state.wi.us/static, Wisconsin Arts Board. Wyoming. WYOSPCR.state.wy.us, Department of State Parks and Cultural Resources. WYOArts.state.wy.us, Wyoming Arts Council. WyomingFilm.org, Wyoming Film Office. WYOArchives.state.wy.us/index.htm, Wyoming State Archives. will.state.wy.us, Wyoming State Library. WYOmuseum.state.wy.us, Wyoming State Museum. Chapter 3. Several lists of U.S. art agencies and councils by state. United States art agencies by state. eed.state.ak.us/AKSCA, AK. arts.state.al.us, AL. arkansasarts.org, AR. azarts.gov, AZ. cac.ca.gov, CA. coloradoarts.state.co.us, CO. Culture and Tourism. Org, CT. dcarts.dc.gov, DC/dcarts, DC. artsdel.org, D. florida-arts.org, FL. garts.org, GA. state.hi.us/sfca, Iowa Arts Council.org, IA. arts.idaho.gov, ID. arts.illinois.gov, IL. in.gov/arts, in. arts.state.ks.us, KS. artscouncil.ky.gov, KY. crt.state.la.us/cultural development/arts/index, LA. massculturalcouncil.org, MA. msac.org, MD. mainarts.com, ME. Michigan Business. org/community/council arts cultural affairs. MI. arts.state.mn.us, MN. Missouri Arts Council.org, MO. arts.state.ms.us, MS. art.mt.gov/default. ASP, MT. ncarts.org, NC. state.nd.us/arts, ND. nebraskaartscouncil.org, NE. state.nh.us/nharts, NH. nj.gov/state/New Jersey SCA/index. HTML, New Jersey. nmarts.org, NM. nevadaculture.org/NAC, NV. nica.org, New York. oac.state.oh.us, O. arts.ok.gov, OK. OregonArtsCommission.org, OR. PA-CouncilONTHearts.org, PA. arts.ri.gov, RI. South Carolina Arts.com, SC. artscouncil.sd.gov, SD. arts.state.tn.us, TN. arts.state.tx.us, TX. arts.utah.gov, UT. arts.virginia.gov, VA. vermontartscouncil.org, VT. arts.wa.gov, WA. arts.state.wi.us/stat-ic, WI. wvculture.org, WV. wyoarts.state.wy.us, WY. U.S. Island Art Agencies. Americansamoa.gov. guamsiaha.org, Guam. dcca.gov.mp, the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas. icp.gobierno.pr, Puerto Rico. viconsulinarts.org, Virgin Islands. U.S. State Arts Councils 1. arkansasarts.org. arts.state.al.us. arts.state.ks.us. arts.state.mn.us. arts.state.ms.us. art.state.mt.us, arts.state.tn.us, arts.state.tx.us, arts.state.va.us, asarts.org, cac.ca.gov, cis.state.mi.us/arts, crt.state.la.us/arts, coloradoarts.state.co.us, dmla.clan.lib.nv.us/docs/arts, garts.org, florida-arts.org, History National Council on Public History, ncph.org, ithio.com/art-associations/art-associations_r-v.html, kyarts.org, maa.org, mainarts.com, massculturalcouncil.org, midatlanticarts.org, msac.org, nebraskaartscouncil.org, nefa.org, newjerseyartscouncil.org, ncarts.org, state.nd.us/arts, nmarts.org, newyorkfa.org, nica.org, oac.state.oh.us, oklahomaosf.state.ok.us/arts, oregonartscommission.org, risca.state.ri.us, southarts.org, sparkmurals.org, state.hi.us/sfca, state.id.us/arts, state.il.us/agency/iac, state.in.us/iac, state.nh.us/nharts, state.sc.us/arts, vermontartscouncil.org, westaf.org, U.S. State Arts Councils 2. bham.com/asca, Alabama State Council on the Arts, educ.state.ak.us/asca/home.html, Alaska State Council on the Arts, heritage.state.ar.us/aac, Arkansas Arts Council, az.arts.asu.edu/arts, Arizona Commission on the Arts, cac.ca.gov, California Arts Council, aclin.org/cca/index.htm, Colorado Arts Council, cslnet.ctstatu.edu/cca, Connecticut Commission on the Arts, dca.net/arts del, Delaware Division of the Arts, capaccess.org/dcca, District of Columbia Commission on the Arts and Humanities, dos.state.fl.us, Florida Division of Cultural Affairs, gaint.org/Georgia-arts, Georgia Council for the Arts, artsgeorgia.org, Georgia Citizens for the Arts, state.hi.us/sfca, State Foundation on Culture and the Arts, Hawaii, state.id.us/arts, Idaho Commission on the Arts, state.il.us/agency/iac, Illinois Arts Council, ai.org/iac, Indiana Arts Commission, state.ia.us/government/idca/iac, Iowa Arts Council, state.ky.us/agencies/arts/catchhome.html, Kentucky Arts Council, crt.state.la.us/crt/ocd/diopage/diopage.htm, Louisiana Division of the Arts, mainarts.com, Maine Arts Commission, msac.org, Maryland State Arts Council, commerce.state.mi.us/arts, Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs, Minnesota Alliance for Arts in Education, mcae.k12.mn.us, Minnesota Center for Arts Education, ecodev.state.mo.us/mo Arts Council, Missouri Arts Council, arts.state.ms.us, Mississippi Arts Commission, gps.k12.ne.us/nac_web_site/nac.htm, Nebraska Arts Council. clan.lib.nv.us/docs/arts/arts-con.hdm, Nevada State Council on the Arts. artswire.org/ICA, New York State Arts Council. state.nh.us/nharts, New Hampshire State Council on the Arts. artswire.org/artswire/New Jersey SCA, New Jersey State Council on the Arts. nmmnh-abq.mus.nm.us, New Mexico Arts Division. ncarts.org, North Carolina Arts Council. state.nd.us/arts, North Dakota Council on the Arts. oac.ohio.gov, Ohio Arts Council. fineartsfund.org/ASO, Arts Services Office of the Cincinnati Institute of Fine Arts. artsnet.heinz.cmu.edu/pca, Pennsylvania Council on the Arts. midnet.sc.edu/scac/artweb.htm, South Carolina Arts Commission. state.sd.us/state/executive/deca/sdarts/sdarts.htm, South Dakota Arts Council. arts.state.tn.us, Tennessee Arts Commission. arts.state.tx.us, Texas Commission on the Arts. txarts.net/tcqae, Texas Coalition for Quality Arts Education. state.vt.us/Vermont-Arts, Vermont Arts Council. Virginia Commission on the Arts. wa.gov/art, Washington State Arts Commission. wvlc.wvnet.edu/culture/arts.html, West Virginia Commission on the Arts. arts.state.wi.us, Wisconsin Arts Board. commerce.state.wy.us/cr/arts/index.htm, Wyoming Arts Council.